This movie came out at the wrong time. Not only because of COVID, but where it sits in the MCU. This movie would have been good if it had came out during Phase 1. Like, if we had gotten an introduction to Black Widow, like we did in Iron Man 2, and then this movie was the follow-up to her initial introduction, I don't think people would be attacking this movie as badly as they are. The action is good, the music choices are great, we get excellent performances from Rachel Weisz, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, I'm hoping I said that name right, and Scarlett Johansson. We get an interesting look to answers that we had behind the scenes in regards to certain things that happen in Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, and right before Infinity Game. So a lot of the questions that we had about character changes, how situations happened, and what was going on behind the scenes, we kind of get snippets of that in this movie. Like, they more or less like flesh that out. But the problem with this movie is it's trying to be three things. It's a Black Widow origin movie. It's a Black Widow sequel to the origin movie. And then it's also an epilogue for Scarlett Johansson's character's death in Endgame. And the overall issue is nothing outside of Scarlett Johansson's character and the family itself. These people on this poster. Outside of the family dynamic, everyone else doesn't really get developed extremely well. The main villain of this, I'm not going to remember his name. Evil bad guy who doesn't work for an organization that's basically Hydra but not Hydra. Whatever. The sidekick characters that kind of pop in to assist both Natasha Romanoff's Black Widow and I cannot remember the other character's name, but basically Florence Pugh's Black Widow. I'm not going to remember like who he is. These other side, look, Taskmaster is just if I'm going to have to dedicate an entire video to talk about Taskmaster. That video is definitely coming after this review. Taskmaster was a letdown. In my opinion, I feel as though he should have just basically been the main villain. Like, they could have casted and cared more about Taskmaster's character basically for who he is in the if you're a Taskmaster fan like I am, you're not going to like this interpretation of Taskmaster. But here's the problem. The story for Taskmaster is great. The setup for his character is great. Because when you get the reveal, you're like, oh, that's fucked up. The problem is that the character is called Taskmaster. And it's just like, you could have changed this person and completely made a new MCU villain. And that villain would have been absolutely fantastic to be more or less Natasha's nemesis. Instead, you wasted the character by turning them into basically Taskmaster or knockoff fake master, because he ain't Taskmaster. This movie just came out at the wrong time. Like, COVID messed it up, and Marvel took way too long to release a Black Widow movie. And it sucks, because there are some really, really great performances in here. Sometimes the jokes don't quite land, but the main cast is great. If you were to tell me that I'm in the MCU and the assassins you're going to send after me are Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz, you'd find me like in a ditch somewhere just folded. Like, kill me. Yes, kill me. If this is what the Red Room is sending, just take me out. Because man, like, I don't, maybe it's like the young kid in me who really, really liked the Mummy movies growing up, but I love Rachel Weisz. Rachel Weisz is just so dope, and I wish I would see her in more shit. Like, she kicks ass, and everybody in this movie kicks ass, but I love the fact that, like, Rachel Weisz really kicked ass as, like, the veteran Black Widow. That was dope, because I was really afraid they were going to mess up her character. But if you want to go see the start of, like, the next sequence of MCU movies, go and check out Black Widow. I thought it was good. It's not the best MCU movie, but in my opinion, it's better than Captain Marvel, and I would definitely give it a rewatch. Peace.